kind of give you a street-by-street look at what is happening here. And the very strong rotation, again, is approaching Cleveland along Arkansas 124. And then that's Arkansas Highway 95 up towards Gravel Hill, Claude, and Scotland. This storm is taking a very similar path to the one on April 30th, 2010 that went through Scotland when we had a tornado that April. Right now, we do not have a debris signature or anything like that, but still a storm very worthy of a tornado warning. And again, that warm front is pushed towards the north enough to get these storms rotating at least in that vicinity. We are watching the other two storms that are just to the northwest of Little Rock. One is on the west side of Conway. So far, it has behaved, but the storm that we're most concerned with, Barry, has got Clinton in its sights, and it's coming out of northern Conway County.
Yeah, and that one was not, it wasn't very strong until just a few scans ago, so just a little while ago. We'll look on down then from that storm, and that's northern Conway County, on down to a storm that is warned, and it's up, it's out to the west of Greenbrier, and that is in the eastern part of Conway County and the western part of Faulkner County. So there's Greenbrier right there in Faulkner County, but this storm is just on the other side of the county line over into Conway County, and that one has tried to rotate. It's moving off to the northeast, but it hasn't been able to produce a tornado, it doesn't look like. And then we're looking out just to kind of orient you. There's a Little Rock down here, and we have out by Bigelow and into the Perryville area, a storm that's been strong, trying to rotate, but really just hasn't been able to do that. I'm going to get out of your way here, and we'll go back to the tornado-warned storm. There's also another storm up around Leslie. It's just been issued as far as a severe thunderstorm warning. That should be north of the front, though, so more limited in its ability to do to make a tornado. This one, though, riding the boundary, and that one is the one that we're looking at right now. So we're going to go in a little bit closer on that, and we'll show you the Highway 95 area there, Bridge Hill Road, Liberty Springs Road, right here. There's Bridge Hill Road, and right on Cleveland right now would be where that rotation is. In fact, we'll turn on the wind product inside that storm, and you can see there is rotation right around the city, the small community of Cleveland, as it moves off to the north-northeast. And this storm just got up to where there was the warm frontal boundary, and it provided that extra little bit of lift, and then it can tap in to the winds that are coming from the southwest in the upper levels of the atmosphere. So that is our first tornado-warned storm. It'll be moving on up towards Scotland and Pleasant Grove as it crosses up into Van Buren County, and that will be in just a little while. And it looks like the rotation, latest scan, might be just a touch stronger. It's not moving all that quickly right now, but that's the storm that we're going to continue to watch. And none of the other storms, and we're going to continue to watch all of them, are rotating right now. I do want to call your attention, though, to storms coming out of Oklahoma. We're going to watch those. And there are 4 or 5 more storms out to the southwest of Hot Springs, north of Delight, west of Bismarck, that are all beginning to grow up in the atmosphere, and they're all out by themselves. That's the kind of thing that we're going to watch because the atmosphere is really, really unstable in that part of the state.
They've drawn a new tornado warning for the rotation further towards the north into Van Buren County. So now we have 2 active warnings up towards our north. This one is the rotation sitting to the northwest or just to the west of Clinton. It's right there coming up on Arkansas 16. We have Leslie that sits up here north of Clinton, as does Botkenberg. If you are anywhere near those couple of places, get in your tornado safe spot. This is going to race off towards the north, and it's going to miss Marshall, even though we've got the southeastern part of Searcy County in the warning. This is headed up into, well, in the direction of Timbo, and this is an area that has already experienced quite a bit of severe weather. Botkenberg, you're right in the path. 5:28 p.m. coming up on you here as it crosses Highway 65 here. It's not going to be long. The storms this evening just moving a little bit faster than they were just a few days ago. This is 50 miles per hour, so it's going to be before 5:28 here. It's probably going to be closer to 5:20, and the rotation continues to strengthen. So we're watching 2 storms headed into Van Buren County, one near the city of Cleveland. The other one sits just west of Highway 65, and it's going to cross 65 near Botkenberg. I think the stronger circulation may be the one that's coming out of Cleveland County. Austin, you've got storm scan pulled up, and I think we may start to see a debris signature if this begins to intensify any faster. That's coming up Arkansas Highway 95, 2 areas, and I think this is going to take it on a path in the general direction of Clinton. So while the circulation west of Clinton is going to lift towards the north, towards Botkenberg, we really have to watch the circulation down towards the southwest. I think it is definitely capable of producing a tornado in the type of environment that we have in place today. We're still watching the storms back towards the south and west, but these are the 2 right now that are life-threatening with the ability to produce a tornado any moment. Austin Burks joins us from our weather center. He's watching chaser feeds. He's watching radar as we are. Austin, what are you seeing?
Just the same thing you are seeing, just some of those little weaker couplets there just in areas near Van Buren County and off towards the north. I want to bring to your attention there, if you take the screen, tornado safety, that's a big priority when you get under these tornado warnings. If you don't have a tornado shelter, basements, places to really look for is the interior-most portion of your home. Put as many walls in between you and the outside as possible. Don't want to see any windows in those rooms. And when you do so, cover your head with a helmet or a blanket or a pillow. That is the best way to do so when you're under a tornado warning. Again, we've been also tracking some iDrive cameras out of the Clinton area. Not seeing much there, but that would be on the southwest side of that current tornado warned storm. I know there's another tornado warned storm off towards the north and west of there, but seeing a lot of traffic, likely seeing tornado warnings go off on their phones. If you're out caught driving in this as well, just pull over into a safe spot, or if you're near your house, again, try to get into your tornado safe spot. We are tracking these 2 tornado warned storms and maybe could see some additional ones this evening. So continue to stay severe weather aware and tornado aware as we go for the remainder of this evening. Barry, you seen any, or James, you seen any other reports out with this rotation? We
may be getting a tornado debris signature with the storm that just came out of Cleveland that's headed into the southern part of Van Buren County. Gravel Hill all the way down Arkansas 95. This tornado is near Crescent Road and 95 coming up on Strasner Road. And even if you're just close to these, get to your tornado safe spot immediately. I think we're in a window where these tornadoes tonight could be rather strong. These are not just run-of-the-mill weak springtime tornadoes. I think they could get pretty strong over the next few hours. Really, 5 to 8 p.m. I think is going to be the peak threat before it slowly begins to drop. So we're going to watch the scans over the next couple of minutes. The Weather Service is as well. I think we may have seen, and it's hard to determine sometimes, but we may have seen debris being thrown up in the air from this storm. So Gravel Hill up towards Pleasant Grove, and we're going to go up the line here. That does include Clinton and Scotland as well in the immediate vicinity for the possibility of a tornado being down and it needing your immediate attention. Looks like the circulation off towards the north of this also continues to strengthen. So this is not the only storm that we're watching in Van Buren County, but there's the strong rotation right there coming up on Claude. It's going to pass very close to Scotland, and then we'll be getting up towards Clinton here in the next few moments. So hopefully everybody in this area, we've talked about the threat for days. Hopefully you are prepared to get to a shelter. Barry?
Absolutely. Keep a close watch on that storm and give you a little perspective. These are up to the north of the Little Rock area. We have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, one in the eastern part of Perry County and a storm that's kind of right over in the eastern part of Conway County. Strong storms, but they just can't rotate. These are up near a warm front, which is lifted, and we think they're getting just a little bit of a boost by over that front, and the storms are kind of rooted along that boundary, and that's why we have the 2 tornado warnings. And I'm just going to show you the velocity, the wind inside these storms, because it's a lot more helpful to look at those. And we've got 2 areas of rotation. One right now is just emerging into the southern part of Van Buren County, and that will be taking it up close to, that's Scotland and Pleasant Grove. So there's Scotland and Pleasant Grove, Highway 95. And I'll back out just a little, and you can see there's the rotation center. And it's moving off to the northeast, probably turning a little bit more to the northeast. That looks like a fairly tight couplet there. We're not sure that there's a tornado on the ground in that area. It's a broad area of tornado warning, but if you're in specifically that area, 389, Highway 95, just go ahead and get in your tornado spot in your house. That's the lowest level. That's the most interior part as it moves right up towards Scotland. Go ahead and do that right now. It looks maybe, well, I don't know if it looks any more impressive than the storm that now is out to the west of Clinton. And I'm going to move this over because we can see it just a little bit better. But there's Clinton. This is out west of town. It'll be crossing Highway 65 as it turns northwest and moving right up across the highway corridor there. And that will take that toward Botkenberg, Old Botkenberg, kind of the small community south of Botkenberg. And that rotation will go right across 65 in the hilly terrain around Botkenberg on up to the mountain up to the north of Clinton there. So we've got the 2 tornado-warned storms. We're going to watch those. And we'll also continue to watch the storms. So we'll go back to the reflectivity or just the rainfall product with these. Those storms out to the west of Little Rock. Nothing in the Little Rock area right now. Also watching other storms trying to go up in an atmosphere out in western Arkansas, but they aren't really increasing all that rapidly. And then we have the storms coming out of Oklahoma, which the tornado warnings have been issued out in advance of those, and we'll continue to watch them. But they earlier had some velocity indications of tornadoes, and you can kind of see it there around DeQueen right now, and kind of a broad area coming into Little River County. So Sevier County and Little River County coming into the state there, and another one maybe to the northwest of DeQueen that will be moving up toward the southern part of Polk County, well to the south of Mena. Again, we get so focused on a lot of these storms, but I just want to show you kind of where we are. It's to the north of Little Rock right now, especially those that are going up over the warm front. And then the main line, broken as it is, with the potential for tornadoes within those storms. And these cells, not that strong right now, but we think they could be in an environment where they begin to boil up in the atmosphere. Still looking at those, and have we seen a new velocity scan on these, new wind profile with any of these storms? Any indication, James?
They are, they're getting very close to the cool boundary that sits up here. It's right there, really, through Van Buren County. That's why these storms are rotating. With that being said, as they cross towards the north, they can weaken. So let's continue to shelter in place, and I think you'll be able to tell based on your location. I think it's a lot cooler in Marshall than it is in Clinton. I think the humid air actually did reach Clinton. So Clinton, make sure you're in your tornado safe spot. The rotation continues to advance up towards the northeast, and we're getting very close to the rotation coming up on Botkenberg. Also, guys, I just got a picture. Austin, I'm going to send it to you. Mm-hmm. I got a picture of the storm that's near Bigelow, and it looks pretty impressive. We don't have a tornado warning on that storm, but that is one that we're going to have to watch as it continues to move off towards the east. And this is from, that picture is from Brandon Davis that we're about to show. In the meantime, I'm going to continue looking at the 2 circulations that are in Van Buren County. And this is right near Botkenberg. And one of our interns, Blaze Thomas, is from this area. So I'm going to give him a quick shout and see if he is seeing anything. Because that's going to cross over US 65, very close to Botkenberg and where the Foursquare Church sits. And I think the Botkenberg Volunteer Fire Department sits very close to that location as well. Looks like a very broad circulation on that one. Further towards the southwest, coming up 389, this rotation, a little bit further southwest there, so it's a little bit, I think, has access to maybe warmer air. And so this is coming into Scotland. And the rotation does look very strong. I just looked for a debris signature and did not see one on radar. But on a day like this, you can have storms go from not producing a tornado to producing a tornado very, very quickly. It can happen in just an instant. So get down in the most interior room. Of course, a storm shelter or a basement is even better, but an interior room, a bathroom or closet will work just fine. Scotland to Clinton, and eventually we're going to have another circulation crossing US 65. Looks like this is going to go right up 389 through Scotland and then 95 towards Clinton. There's a new scan, still no debris being lofted, and remember, we're not looking at ground level, we're looking a little bit higher, a few thousand feet up. Looks like the northern circulation has just crossed. It's near 65 and 110, now on the other side of US 65. This is going to get very close to Plant and Elba, and then it's going to head up north towards Flag and Timbo. I think eventually kind of running out of warm air, but maybe right on the boundary. So definitely want to take your tornado precautions. The storm further towards the south, coming up on Damascus, continues to intensify a little bit as well, and it's right there on that boundary, and it's starting to get a little bit of weak rotation that we are keep an eye on as well. The storm that's just near Bigelow has great radar presentation. It's just a tiny little supercell, pretty mature little storm, but just has not had tons of rotation to it. We do expect that we're going to be seeing a few more warnings over the course of the next 2 to 3 hours before things really transition to a major flash flood threat. Here's where we stand so far, and here's kind of the things I want you to be watching for. The stuff out in the open, very concerning, and so far, getting close to 5:30, this stuff has not produced tornadoes today, and that was a huge concern that you see tornadoes well in advance of the main line. There is a section of the main line, though, that's entering southwest Arkansas, moving northeast, that's going to travel in this corridor right here, up towards Hot Springs and eventually towards the metro area over the next 2 hours. We do think tornadoes are going to be possible along that line. So just because this early activity maybe isn't doing much towards the metro area or towards Hot Springs, we are carefully watching that stuff. It's eventually going to come into Pike County, and if tornado warnings continue, we're going to be watching that very closely. There's also another tornado warning up in far northeast Arkansas, and the line back towards the west part of Russellville does not look like a tornado threat right now. I believe that's on the cool side of the boundary. I've got another report from a storm chaser watching the storm coming out of Perry County. He says it's got a big wall cloud on it. We're still just not seeing a ton of rotation. The two areas of rotation that have active tornado warnings are going to be the one near Old Botkenburg now on the east side of US 65. And it looks like the rotation has weakened a little bit over Scotland coming up towards Clinton. A weakening rotation is a good thing, but I don't want you to let your guard down. Stay in your tornado safe spot. Let these storms pass. Again, it can change very, very quickly. You can go from no tornado, and it's fine. We saw this on March 31st here in Little Rock, no tornado, and then all of a sudden you have it. That's the type of day this is. Austin?
Yeah, so we have a couple storm chasers, like you mentioned, that we've been watching. I'm not exactly sure. I don't know, James, if you could text Zach to see where his location is, but they're obviously looking at something out in the distance. Where, Plummerville?
Plummerville.
Okay, so they're looking at some storms out in some locations out in those parts. But we have been watching them for a little bit, other storm chasers as well. I've also seen some reports of some power outages in northwestern Van Buren County, very minor power outages. Not sure if it was associated with the rotation that was located earlier in northwestern Van Buren County. But here's a closer look at that wall cloud picture that James sent to me. James, where did you say this was located at?
That's Bigelow. That's from Brandon Davis. And that's a very low-hanging wall cloud.
Yeah, so that was from that earlier storm.
Guys, I think we're going to have a new tornado warning coming out. Apologize.
Oh, so that's that storm.
And there it is, right there,
yeah.
that we were just talking about. Let's go right to it, and it's to the north of Bigelow right now. This appendage has been hanging down for a long, long time now, but apparently now it has enough in the way of rotation, and we've just been looking at this, and it just has some bit of rotation that would be northwest of Bigelow, and that would be headed up just out to the west of Conway. So let me give you a little more perspective on this. This is out to the west of Conway, and it is moving off to the north, and that will take it up into that southeastern corner of Conway County. So it'll come out of Perry County and move up into Conway County. It's moving off to the northeast, so it'll kind of ride the Faulkner and Conway County line out to the west of Beaver Fork Lake, but this is the part of it that would be rotating, hanging down on the south side. It's west of you, Conway, and it's moving off at a fairly rapid clip. Again, velocity product-wise, it's kind of difficult to see this, but we're looking at just the reflectivity, and so that is the rotating part right down here, out east of Houston, northwest of Bigelow, and then that's the latest scan as it moves on up. So if you're in the Menifee area right now, go ahead and take your precaution to get in the lowest part of your house, the most interior part of your house. And it looks like Plummerville, you'll be just to the northwest of that rotating area. But that is the newest tornado warning that we have, and it is northwest of Little Rock at this hour.
We've got Brett Adair on it.
Okay.
With Live Storms Media. He's got a large wall cloud, so let's go ahead and take this shot here off of, I've got it on Max 1, and there it is. This is off towards the west of Conway. This is in Perry County. Guys, let's come to Max 1. There we go. This is the wall cloud right here.
Yeah.
So you've got this big base of the storm. There's the wall cloud, and you've got a lowering right here. And that is what you're looking at. And Barry, you could just talk about the roads that are there. I don't want to leave the image as we're watching it.
I'll go back.
I think this is from his drone, actually. Could be, unless he's in a high spot. But
Yeah,
it
I
looks
think
like
so.
it's from his drone.
I'll go back to it real quickly here.
Let's stay with the camera shot.
Yeah, we're looking at out west of Toadsuck with this. So Stony Point Road, County Road 152, Sunshine Farms Road. And yeah, that looks like, yeah, it's certainly lowering down there. And that's what you look for. You look for that broad area that goes about, well, it looks like halfway down to the ground. And then you begin to look for the lowering out in the middle of that. And that's where the tornado would occur if it is going to occur. It'll be crossing the Arkansas River very quickly.
I think we're starting to get a funnel right here.
Yeah, and then moving up toward Menifee.
So we've seen a couple of attempts today at a funnel cloud. And
I think it's right on the river right now as it's going across. But Menifee, you are in the path of this storm.
this is eventually going to cross over I-40, so nobody should be driving on I-40 between Conway and Morrilton. This is, like Barry said, getting very close to the Arkansas River. This is just to the northeast of Houston, and it's tough to tell just by looking at the picture, but I can tell that it is rotating. The rotation is weak, but I still think it continues to strengthen. And Barry, let's I'll keep an eye on this shot. I think we should talk about the new area of rotation that's north of Damascus. It's really tightened up just in the last couple of minutes.
Okay. Yeah. Let's just keep a close watch on that. We also have our Emma Allen that is in Conway. I don't know what that picture looks like. Do they have eyes on that storm as well, guys? If so, let's take that very quickly.
Okay, they're outside Morrilton.
Okay. So now, let's come to me real quickly here, and I just want to show you a couple of areas. This is north of Damascus. This is starting. The winds going out away from the radar site right there. So on 65 north of Damascus, not tornado warned right now, but you folks in that area, I want you to pay special close attention to us. Also out to the west of Clinton, there is, I think, what is weakening rotation out there in the hills, very hilly terrain out to the west of Clinton. And the other area of concern is out, out to the southeast of Leslie in the hills there, east of Highway 65. And that does look like there's some rotation as it moves toward Flag and Timbo. That would be over into Stone County, kind of cutting across that southeastern part of Searcy County and northeastern Van Buren County. Those are the tornado warned storms, but the ones that we're looking at, and it's a little bit harder to see. We're very close. We're close to the radar here, but the rotation's not showing up all that well. But I'm just going to go back to the reflectivity product. And if you're in that area right along the river, I'll go over here just a little bit. This is out west of Conway. It's west of Toadsuck. It is this hook right here. So within this area, crossing the river right now, and then headed on up toward Menifee, that's where we've seen that lowering. And if we can go back, that's just what it looks like on radar. I'm saying anywhere in that southeastern corner of Conway County, there's Shawbridge Road to the north of Menifee. Can we go back to Brett Adair's
Yeah, let's come over here. Let's take the picture. The wall
video.
cloud's not nearly as defined. It's over the Arkansas River, and it continues to look like there is some rotation with it, but again, it's not as well defined. You look there at the cloud on the right side of your screen, it's just kind of there. It's not really rotating like it was when it tried to funnel there just a few minutes ago. So it's still a low-hanging wall cloud. We know there's weak rotation with it. This is right over the Arkansas River. Brett Adair with Live Storms Media doing great work out there today. He's a professional. Do want to say, Barry, there's a new tornado warning now that includes the circulation north of Damascus. That's going to take it into Cleburne County on the north side of Greers Ferry Lake.
Yeah, that's the one I was just showing you right there. And so this is the storm right on Highway 65. We're going to keep a close watch on Brett's feed right there. But the velocities are such that this now, and let's go back.
Starting the wall cloud here is starting to reorganize.
Yeah, it really is. Okay, I'm going to go back to this. North of Damascus, I've already told you, right on the highway there, you need to go get ahead and get in a safe spot. That's a new tornado warning. Eventually, it'll be moving up into western Cleburne County. But the one that we're looking at is going back here and in Menifee, and I'm going to call out areas right along and to the north of the river. This is Portland Road, County Road 217. There's Canal Road. This is on the south side of Menifee. And it will cross Highway 64, and then it will cross I-40. So this appendage hanging down here. Again, you're in the Portland Road area. Let's see if I can get some other names of roads down there. They're small county roads, but it's right along the river and moving on up to the northeast at a fairly rapid rate right now. And let's go back to Brett's shot, because I think that gives us ground confirmation of what this is showing.
The Conway County deputy appears to be reporting strong rotation with it. We're looking at it from more of a distance. But Barry, that looks like we are still just looking at a low-hanging wall cloud. And when you guys come back to me, I want to point something out here. This is still quite a ways above the ground. Even though the base of the storm is low-hanging, still quite a ways above the ground. Looks like this is Brett's shot from the ground, so it looks like he may be pulling the drone down now as he repositions. Austin, I think we have a Cole Outlaw's shot of the same storm. I think we have that. I'll see if we can get that pulled up. I'll go back to radar. This is a tiny little storm that we have on the northwest side of Conway that's producing all this rotation and this wall cloud. And so far, it hasn't looked super impressive. In fact, the actual storm is beginning to shrink just a little bit as it approaches Menifee. Still dangerous, still has a chance, I think, to produce a tornado if it can hang on. But it looks like the more impressive circulation that we've got right now is up off US 65, headed northeast towards Fairfield Bay. Not only Fairfield Bay, but really Greer's Ferry and Greer's Ferry Lake.
We do now have a Cole Outlaw shot.
Okay,
James.
let's take it real quick and let's see. That's on storm scan,
yeah,
guys.
We'll take it full screen of Cole Outlaw's shot. There you go. I think the wall cloud itself is kind of on the eastern right side of your screen, kind of where those trees are at. So we're kind of getting the tail end of it there. But still watching his stream, see if he'll continue to kind of go a little further up with it. It looks, this is the same storm that Brett Adair's on, right?
Yeah, he's repositioning. Thankfully, it doesn't look too organized right now.
Yeah,
it looks like they're
Cole's
repositioning
moving too.
as well.
So
all right, let's come back to let's go back to Barry.
Come back to me here, and I want to show you a couple of storms on up to the north. We've got the one that is. Now let me see if this is the latest one. Yes, there's another storm here west of Choctaw, and that storm is you're kind of at the edge of the tornado warning. But I'm just going to watch that. There's Choctaw and Clinton right there. Just watching for some weak rotation right there. But the storm that is warned is the one that's north of Damascus. And there it is right there. It's crossing Highway 92. It's a fairly broad area of circulation, but the winds going away from the radar are fairly strong. This is out off to the east of Highway 65, southeast of Choctaw, and in Van Buren County. And we'll be moving on up. And this tornado warning actually goes over into Cleburne County, and I'll back out, and eventually that would be a storm that, if the circulation persists, would move up toward Fairfield Bay and then over into Cleburne County. So south of Shirley, but you're just in the Fairfield Bay area, you're in the tornado warning. So make preparations to get into that lowest spot in your house, most interior spot. Get as many walls between you and the outside as you can, many barriers as you can, and away from exterior walls and windows especially. And so that's what we're looking at. So all of these storms have that little tail on them. So this is the one that we're looking at down here to the southwest of Fairfield Bay. But this one just to the west, and they just tornado warned it. It's the one just off to the west of Choctaw, and I'm going to zoom in closely on this. So there's two areas that we're watching. North of Morganton, and then this right here is a velocity product showing the winds spinning around west of Choctaw. And this new, I believe this new tornado warning went into effect for there. Yes, it did. And the storm that's southwest of Clinton. So Clinton, you need to go ahead, along with Choctaw, go ahead and get in that safe spot right now. There is some indication of rotation there. I'm just going to show you the tail of the storm. And there's a lot of stuff going on out here. So this is probably our best shot of it. But that's a rotation center that's being, the rain is being pulled around that area, the appendage hanging down from the supercell itself. So all the way on up 65 and into the Clinton area, this is the time that you need to get into that safe spot. It's moving off to the northeast now. It'll be following, I believe that's Highway 95, so that intersects with just south of Clinton and just on the north side of Choctaw, kind of right between the two cities right there, and that is a tornado-warned storm as well. Then we look on up into North Arkansas. Velocity-wise, around Flag and Timbo, there's another storm there. There's another storm that's trying to form near Leslie, but that's kind of at the edge of that. So we have into Stone County, you have a tornado warning. This is goes all the way up to 56 in Sycamore, and that storm will be coming up right through there. And now the storm that's still in the southeastern part of Conway County. Velocity-wise, it doesn't look terribly impressive right now, but that's what we've showed you, that it's a supercell. It was rotating, but sometimes when you have weak rotation, it's enough for that mesocyclone, that lowering of part of the big storm, it lowers down, and if there's a little more rotation, then it begins to lower down to the ground, but it has to have enough rotation for it to get all the way down to ground to be of harm and a tornado. And we don't know that that's happening. I will tell you, though, that's on a tornado warning. You won't be inconvenienced very long. If you're near Menifee, maybe just north, that rotation has passed just north of there, go ahead and get into that safe spot in your house. All of these storms are kind of fluctuating in their power and their ability to rotate. It looks like a new storm there as well.
Kind of looks like the storm that's Faulkner County is just struggling.
Yeah, it is. I believe it is now. I don't see any great sign along Shawbridge Road there and to the north, Union Chapel Road. That's a tornado-warned storm, but we haven't gotten confirmation, and we're looking at that storm, that there is actually anything on the ground. Until, though, if you're in that area, let's go ahead and get in as it crosses over into Faulkner County. Go ahead and get into that safe spot in your house.
All right, so we have multiple active tornado warnings in the state, and I believe we're about to see another one. So let me reset the board here. We've got the tornado-warned storm that's now moving out of Conway County into Faulkner County. We've got a pair of them in Van Buren County. I think a couple of these may be north of the boundary, but if you're near Greers Ferry Lake, Greers Ferry, definitely be in a safe spot. There's another tornado warning that was just issued out in Scott County, right there on the boundary. But for those of us down into central Arkansas, look back towards the southwest. We've got a couple of storms back here that are moving northeast that I think could be problems for us really over the next 2 hours. And the strong tornado risk, I think, with that is substantial as it moves towards the northeast and until it really just forms into a big line and kind of loses its forward progression. So that's keep that in mind. Glenwood, Arkadelphia, Hot Springs, Malvern. Just keep that in the back of your mind this evening, is if you need to leave your house to seek shelter from a tornado. That is what we're currently watching. I'm going to go in a little bit closer, and we're going to look at the.
We should take Storyteller real quick.
Well, let's look at Storyteller.
This is looking
Where is this at?
northwest from Conway, James, and that's that storm near Menifee. And there's definitely a lowering. You can't see down to the ground below it, but this is what it looks like as you're leaving. And that's a supercell thunderstorm, but as we've seen before, I think this one is struggling, and I see no obvious signs of rotation along with that, but just wanted to let you know there. But
we also have Coal Outlaw Stream now on radar scan, or storm scan, and it's not really showing any evidence of that wall cloud anymore. So it's completely gone. So that's great news for these locations.
Yeah, sure.
Conway, that's up towards Greenbrier. Worcester, all those areas that was under that tornado warning. I think we're good for now. I want to go look at Max 1 here. The circulation, still have some weak rotation coming up to the west side of Fairfield Bay. And so Fairfield Bay, even up to Shirley, being your tornado safe spot, this is really moving north, maybe even north-northeast. This is going to go towards or just near the north section of Greers Ferry Lake. So Heber Springs, you hear Greers Ferry Lake, think like this might mean I need to seek shelter, but this is actually well off towards your northwest. You guys, Heber Springs actually not even in the warning. I'll set it in motion so we can kind of see it's actually moving more due north than east now. Shirley up to Turkey Creek, up Highway 9. You should be in your safe place. I think this is going to stay, based on its current angle, I think it's going to stay just to the west of Greers Ferry. It looks like it's crossing over the west side of the lake there now, the far west side of the lake, that is. That is the most impressive circulation that we have in our market right now, and this is kind of a pair of storms that just crossed over US 65. If these can remain on the boundary of warm air, there's a boundary here between warm and cool air, this could stay tornado warned and could be significant as it moves up towards the northeast, maybe the northern part of Independence County. So don't tune out just because these storms right now look like they might just still be trying to get their act together. In fact, if these two storms can merge here in Van Buren County, that might help these storms really get a higher tornado threat. The tornado warning that included Leslie, Flag, Timbo, it has been canceled. We think this storm has ingested some cool air. It's on that cool side of the warm front. The one that's most concerning there is back towards the southwest, towards Fairfield Bay. So if you're in Fairfield Bay, you've got to be in a safe spot right now. You see all of the homes and the developments there. Fairfield Bay sits right here. This is just right on your doorstep, north of Mountain Park Road and Arkansas Highway 330. We're going to move this off towards the north, really. It looks like it's going to be impacting maybe part of the development there on the north side of Fairfield Bay, where it's kind of densely populated with homes. And then that's going to take it probably in the direction of Brewer here over the next 10 minutes. And that's a little bit better look there. I think this probably is a rain-free base, probably a very low-hanging base, but if we had a tornado, it's going to be in this area right here. And I'm sure with the large number of you that are in Fairfield Bay, if we have something down, we're going to hear about it here very, very soon, hoping that this rotation that we're tracking remains aloft and above the ground. They still are keeping that tornado warning for northern Faulkner County, but the storm looks a lot less impressive. A lot less impressive. See, it had a hook on it as it came through Bigelow, had that very impressive funnel that we had live on air, and then it has really started to fall apart as it has gotten to the west of Greenbrier. It's going to cross over US 65 as well, but from the last couple of shots that we had from storm chasers that were on it, and I can't find any rotation on it. I just don't think they're going to continue that tornado warning for very much longer. The most impressive warning by far, the most impressive circulation by far that we are tracking is the one near Fairfield Bay. And Barry, you've got that pulled up.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit more about it now. Fairfield Bay, it's out on the west side. There's the highway that goes down to Fairfield Bay. And moving off to the northeast, pretty rapid rate right now. It's well off to the north of Greers Ferry Lake, and that western end of Greers Ferry Lake. And we don't know that there's a tornado with that, but let's go ahead and get into that safe spot just for the sake of going to that safe spot for a few minutes. Might save you from some injury, and that's what we need to do with all these tornado warnings today and tonight. And so this is by far the most or the strongest rotation that we're seeing. But folks, it's not huge rotation, and there's another one just to the west of there, and it doesn't look terribly impressive. But off to the east of Clinton, this is along Highway 16, there is some small little rotation. So if you're right along and south of the airport there, right along Highway 16 as it heads over to Shirley, go ahead and get into that safe spot. You're still in a tornado warned area there. And I think looking at just the reflectivity product or just the rainfall product, you're seeing these little appendages hang down. All of these storms that go up, any at all, are going to have that shape to them. It's just a matter of, can they go up high enough to then produce something out of the bottom? And we're just going to assume, for the sake of argument, that let's just say there is a tornado with that, and we're not sure. But go ahead and get into that safe spot right along Highway 16. If you're in Shirley, just watch this very closely. It'll be moving very close to you in a short amount of time, and I'll zoom in just a little bit more and show you kind of the area we're looking at. Ravens Lane, Magpie Lane, Silver Tree Road Oakland Road there, and on down to Bob Hogue Road. All right, back to Fairfield Bay we go. Hard to see velocity, except we're seeing a lot of wind going away from the radar site, maybe some coming toward it, but we've already told you, be in that safe spot, Fairfield Bay, and just on the north side of it right there, in case there is something that is occurring with that storm. These two are very close together. They may be competing a little bit with one another. This one may actually overtake this one in a short amount of time, but they have a lot of warm, humid air that's flowing in. If you've stepped outside, you know it is just muggy out there and still very, very warm. As we head back down, there's still that tornado warning that's in effect for the storm that's now entering western Faulkner County, West Republican Road, Highway 285. And I just don't see a lot of rotation with that storm at all. So 285, West Republican Road right there, and moving off to the northeast into western Faulkner County. I know the Weather Service is keeping a close eye on it, and I'm going to see if they are, no, they have now canceled that one. Well, it expires at 5:59, but in effect, they've canceled that. Yes, they have. Other storms up to the north, there aren't many tornado warnings now. Austin, do you have a look at our storm scan computer there, and what do you see?
Yeah, looking at the storms in southwest Arkansas at the moment, towards DeQueen, just kind of outside, a little bit outside our viewing area. Not seeing any real true evidence right now. We are still looking kind of far away from radar there, but maybe a little bit of weak rotation there south of DeQueen. But anybody towards Murfreesboro, Nashville, Delight, those areas need to just kind of keep a close eye on radar here in the next 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Still also tracking like they have been those northern storms over towards Clinton, heading up towards Mountain View, those locations, I believe Stone County up there towards 56. And there's also a line of storms stretching from I-40 from Clarksville, moving off towards the north and east of Dover. That could probably produce some gusty winds and some hail, but overall, a bigger scope here in central Arkansas near the Little Rock Metro. Not tracking much right now, but we're still keeping an close eye on those storms across areas of west Arkansas as they start moving maybe into a more favorable atmosphere here in central Arkansas. We'll really have to keep a close eye on them. And I've been keeping a track on some of the storm chasers as well. They're all trying to reposition, maybe going west or north, just keeping a close eye on those storms and whatever else develops. So we'll have to monitor what positioning they have as well in the next coming minutes. James, not sure if you're still tracking some of those storms up in North Arkansas.
Yeah,
but
I want to go over the new tornado warning. It includes a large section of Stone County, the areas that were devastated on March 14th included in the warning. 56, Mountain View, even Guillen, Timbo, Turkey Creek. The initial circulation that was near Fairfield Bay appears to be weakening. It looks like the storms are merging, and we're getting a new circulation that has formed really between Clinton and Fairfield Bay. So we're going to take a detailed look at that and what exactly is occurring there. Still have really two areas of rotation to track. One is north of Fairfield Bay. The other one just towards the west, kind of splitting Shirley here. We got one here, we've got one right here. Both of them are moving off towards the north-northeast, and now this is getting away from Fairfield Bay. Again, hopefully this is staying just above the surface. So like we saw with the storm that was near Bigelow, it's rotating, but it's not putting a tornado down. That is what we want to see a lot of tonight, because the tornadoes, if they get down tonight, they can be of the stronger variety, especially if they happen within the next 2 to 3 hours. We think the strong tornado threat at least starts to lessen. It doesn't ever go to zero tonight. It starts to lessen after about 9 o'clock, and I think we're going to be dealing with storms for most of the night. I'm going to put a storm track on this, and we'll show you where it's headed. It's moving north at 60 miles per hour, so this is a very fast-moving storm. At some point, it's going to run out of gas as it races towards the north, but I'll put a storm track on it anyway for those of you that are up in Stone County, and this is one large area of two areas of rotation. In fact, if it kept going at 60 miles per hour, it would be at the Missouri border here in about an hour, but it'll be near Mountain View at 6:10, Calico Rock 6:25, Turkey Creek, which is just across the county line, coming up at 6:02. You've got just less than 10 minutes if you're in the Turkey Creek area. That's the strongest rotation that we're watching, and there's even some rotation on the leading edge of this line here coming into Pope County, but this is really a lot of high winds along this line that's coming into the Pope County area. We're likely to see some high wind damage with that, and looks like they are, I don't know if they're going to continue the tornado warnings down in southwest Arkansas, but those are a couple of storms. I've checked the environment, and all day we've been saying, you know, we don't know which storms are going to produce tornadoes until you get storms out there, but we do know the atmosphere that is in place right along I-30, Arkadelphia, Hot Springs, Little Rock, Conway, does support storms producing tornadoes. And Barry, kind of like we saw the other day, this isn't yet just one giant solid line. So these storms are still kind of cellular out by themselves, so they're going to have the chance to rotate here, we think, over the next couple of hours.
That is an area that is a long way from the radar side out there, but there are some large, like you said, it's a big area of rain, but it's two distinct cells, it appears right now, and there are some little notches in there, and I've just been looking at these, and from the Fort Smith radar, there is some indication. I guess they've issued now a severe thunderstorm warning as it goes on out from there. There was a little bit of rotation near Umpire, and that doesn't look as pronounced as it was. Maybe another little area west of Umpire right now, but again, it's a long way away. And we're headed down into Ben Lomond and Horatio, Locksburg, far southwest Arkansas. That is still a tornado-warned storm down in the southwestern part of the state. But we're going to keep a close watch on those. Ideally, these begin to compete with one another and detract from their ability to be tornado producers, but I think there's still a great wind potential even when that merger with cells begins to happen. Other storms coming out of northeastern Texas, but that's a lot of rainfall right now. You can see it's a large area of rain. It is a tornado-warned storm, and I saw some pretty good rotation on that one. But let's go back into our state. Looks like there's another tornado-warned storm right now west of Waldron, and that is in western Scott County, so just barely over the line into Arkansas from Oklahoma, but there is south of Oliver and south of Hartford. Looks like west of Waldron there is a new tornado warning, so that's part of that larger area that's coming back into our state. All right, let's go into the long area of wind out to the east of Clarksville. That's a wind area that's coming into the western side of Pope County right now, and I don't see any rotation on there, but that's going to be a windy one and a rainy one too. And then we have the large area of rotation that's not very far from Shirley. These are kind of two little areas of rotation, one to the north of Partain, one to the east of Shirley. Neither one terribly impressive. And look at this, they're very close to one another here on the Cleburne and Van Buren County line. And they are, I think, merging. We can take a little bit better view. You can see, yeah, there's one area of rotation and another area of rotation there. Probably starting to merge, and then they'll move on up to the northeast. And the one to the left is probably becoming the dominant storm, kind of being ingested by ingesting the other storm right here. We'll see what that does as far as how it affects it, but it's probably right on the warm front that we're getting that velocity product that is rotating. But yeah, you can see it. I think that latest scan does show that. This is the much more pronounced one right now, out to the northeast of Shirley, and we'll be moving up. That would be up into, that's Stone County. Yeah,
Stone County, Turkey Creek.
Where Stone, Van Buren, and Cleburne come together right there. So if you're in that area, go ahead and take cover.
I want to show the warm front location, just kind of help you process where the greatest tornado threat is. It's really not away from the warm front, but it's this zone along the warm front. So southwest Arkansas, west central Arkansas, into the metro area, and then maybe into northeast Arkansas. These storms that are moving out of southwest Arkansas are going to be moving into a very favorable environment. Just north, we've had some tornado warnings, but as they've gone across that boundary, perhaps that's when we've seen some of these storms start to weaken. You see Clinton sitting at 70, Batesville 73. We think the boundary is right in there. We have those tornado-warned storms, and it's 57 in Mountain Home. So maybe as this storm moves north into Stone County, we're going to see it start to weaken. We still want you, Turkey Creek, Mountain View, take your tornado precautions. You never know I've seen a tornado warning happen north of a warm front, 59 degrees, and a tornado did occur. I've seen that happen. It happened in April 2014 in Pope County in a situation similar to this. But generally, we'll see them start to weaken as they get north of that boundary. The concern, though, the next few hours is that section that's going to be southwest Arkansas into central Arkansas. So with that being said, we'll go back and take a look at the storm that's moving out of Cleburne County. Its direction has been mainly towards the north. And we've got still very strong rotation showing up.
Yeah,
as
it's
it
gotten
moves.
stronger.
Yeah, as it moves into Stone County, it's pretty strong and continues to show that it continues to not show a debris signature. That's good news. So it's hopefully up above aloft. Looks like there's still a couple areas of rotation there. It looks like the two storms tried to merge. There's one area right there. There'd be one area back there towards the back of the storm, and that would be just towards the northeast of Shirley. That's coming up on Arkansas 263, and all these storms, you know, I think it's going to turn into a bigger flash flood threat tonight, because this line of storms is eventually just going to park itself over central Arkansas. But all the storms right now over the next couple of hours certainly do give us a window for tornadoes. And I'm actually seeing strengthening rotation now in northern Pope County along that line. That may be right on the boundary as well. So it's going to be north of Dover. I don't know that the National Weather Service has called it out just yet. I'm going to look at it from the Fort Smith radar, maybe a little bit of rotation there, but certainly from the Little Rock radar, looks a little bit better. That would be northern Pope, again, dependent on if it can have access to that warm and humid air. I still think we're a couple hours away from having storms in the metro area, but I do want to tell you, looking out into southwest Arkansas, these storms are moving northeast. They're moving a little bit slower, but they're moving northeast at 40 miles per hour. And so I'll just kind of draw I'll just show you how far away the storms are from the metro area. And they're about 80 miles from the western side of the metro area. I do expect that perhaps these storms might speed up. So we're about 1 to 2 hours from having to deal with these. They may actually end up turning more towards the east. So Arkadelphia, Hot Springs, Little Rock, we're going to be watching those very carefully for you. Not sure if we haven't taken a look down there into the Pike County storm just yet, but they're not under a tornado warning at this time. The tornado warning that we are most focused on is what's headed up into Stone County, very close to the boundary between the warm and humid air and the cool and drier air, and it's a circulation that's coming up on Turkey Creek. A good chance that we see the rotation continue until it gets over the boundary. The National Weather Service very aware of where that is, and it's helping them issue warnings this evening. But I think I'm most concerned about the I-30 corridor. Austin, do you have any new information? I'm watching Storm Chaser feeds. Looks like everybody's kind of repositioning for the stuff that's coming out of southwest Arkansas. And I think that storm, I was talking about the storm north of Russellville, I think it may be north of the warm front.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying to keep a track on. I've been looking at surface observations to see if there's the colder air to the north of this storm or where the storm's moving into to maybe prevent that tornado threat there just north of Dover in areas of Pope County. But take a look at storm scan there. We are looking at that storm. There has been some weaker signs of a little bit of rotation, at least in a scan before this, as it crossed over into western areas of Pope County. But since then, the best news would be if that's staying just to the north of that warm front there. If it is, then it would just pose more of a wind threat for areas of North Pope County, north of Dover there. Even looks like there's a hail indicator there on that storm as well. That other storm towards Stone County, closer look at that. Still seeing a little bit of rotation there near Hanover, just towards the Mountain View area. Let me look at the last couple scans there. Still looking kind of far, but could be some rotation there just to the west of Hanover, moving off towards the north. We'll take a look at any other pictures that have been sent to us as well. We've been seeing a couple wall clouds with that storm that was near Conway about 45 minutes ago. Looks like something over towards Fairfield Bay. Didn't we have a tornado warning with that earlier? If I recall.
Yes.
Yes. So we'll take a look at this video real quick, see what they're showing. It's a longer video, so we'll kind of breeze through it. Hard to tell, if that's rotation, definitely see a lowering there as it's moving off over the Bay Area there. So that's just what we've been keeping an eye on here is your pictures sent to us. It really helps relay in storm reports for the National Weather Service and for us as well. So send them to us at katv.com/chime-in. We'll continue to monitor those and the current scans on radar as well. I'm not sure, Barry, if you're seeing any more indications with that storm up toward Stone County for any tighter rotation or any reports there from the National Weather Service chat for anything.
I think it's just enough rotation, certainly, that it can be tornado warned, but and I think it's probably right on the boundary.
Yeah.
If it goes a little bit farther north, hopefully it will lose its ability to rotate. But let's just give you kind of some perspective around the entire state for right now. You can see it's North Arkansas. It's in the River Valley and northward with that large bowed out area, and then storms down here. This environment from the National Weather Service to the northeast of these, west of I-30, is still very favorable for tornado development if these storms can kind of get out by themselves, become supercellular, and up into the northern part of the state. Not as much right here in central, certainly not in east or southeast Arkansas at this time. What we're looking for, and we're 6:05 right now, we're just looking for this whole area to begin to come together, a large area. Now the upside of that is that tornadoes become a little more difficult to form. It becomes more difficult for them to form, but then the flash flood threat will really start to elevate, I think, as we get just copious amounts of moisture. But we've got a couple of hours before that happens. We're going into Stone County, and I've looked at this, and the rotation part of it it's still there. Winds certainly going away from the radar site, the light pink color coming toward in a small area on the east side of Highway 9. There's Mountain View right there. And so this will be moving very close to the Mountain View area. Very, very mountainous terrain up in that part of the state. And starting to become pretty dark out there. Not that the sun's down, but you're going to see the sun really obscured by this cloud. So it's going to be very, very dark. Get into that interior part of your house and away from exterior walls and windows if you're anywhere along Highway 9 southwest of Mountain View or right up into Mountain View as it traverses Stone County. All right, that's the only tornado warned storm that we see. As we go on back down, that storm near Fairfield Bay, there's another area of rainfall right there, not even warmed even as far as the severe thunderstorm warning though. We back out and we go over to western Pope County. Velocity-wise on this one, this is just a bowed out line of relative wind, but you can see this little notch right here. There's wind, a maximum of wind coming right there and a little maximum of wind going away in a small area. That will cross Highway 7 north of Dover. And there could briefly be, in this area of wind that's bowing out, a little couplet, a little spinning area that does produce a brief tornado. Generally, these tornadoes are not terribly strong or long-lived, but the environment is pretty conducive to that. And so we're going to just watch that. That is just a severe thunderstorm warned storm. I don't think it's likely producing a tornado, but just keep that in mind if you're north of Dover along Highway 7. And we'll go back to the radar here, and it's just as quiet as it can be all through central Arkansas now, watching those storms as they come out of the southwestern part of the state. Velocity product on them, I will tell you, this is quite a ways from the Fort Smith radar, quite a ways from the Shreveport radar, quite a ways from the Little Rock radar. This is kind of out in an area that is potentially just a little bit underserved. Unless you get a really, really large storm, it becomes a little harder to see the velocity on these storms. And radar-wise, approaching Norman and Glenwood. Yeah, this is an area that we're looking at, and there's a little notch right there. It's a supercell thunderstorm that has had a potential for tornadoes. It's been tornado warned before. But for now, it's just a severe thunderstorm warning at the leading edge of it. Back to the southwest, Shreveport still has a tornado warning on this one, but we'll see if they continue that. And then the other one, as we back out, would be down into Howard County and Sevier County and Little River County on down to the southwest. And so we'll watch those as they emerge out into our primary viewing area here at Channel 7. But for right now, I think it's going to be a while, and we're going to have to watch this area immediately in advance of it, because I think it is It's so warm, it's so humid, and there's such a big wind field coming into this area.
Yeah.
It's just, at any time, I think if one of these kind of breaks out away from, I think it could be one that produces a tornado, maybe a sizable one, James.
Yeah, I think it's a short-term threat, but it's a significant threat. Over the next 3 hours, these two storms that move northeast towards central Arkansas and along the I-30 corridor, I think that is really where the main severe weather threat is. I do want to talk to you, though, about the flash flood threat tonight because it is nothing to sneeze at. I think it could be life-threatening, and in some cases, I think it could be catastrophic if enough rain happens. This model doesn't have it exactly right, but I think the general idea is something that we can follow along with. You got these storms in southwest Arkansas. They're going to move towards the northeast. Here in a couple hours, they're knocking on the door of central Arkansas. If they stay more isolated, there's a good chance that we could see tornadoes with those as they move into our direction. Past 8 o'clock, and really as you get towards 9 and 10, this line of storms just stays parked along the I-30 corridor, west central Arkansas, and into central Arkansas for hours and hours and hours. We're going through tomorrow morning, 4, 5, 6, 7 a.m. All this has just stayed over central Arkansas all night long, very heavy rain, and a lot of places in that zone have already received 3, 4, some places 5 inches of rain. Our creeks are full. We have already had saturated ground. Tonight is the main show for the flash flood event. It continues into Saturday with another round of possibly some severe storms, not to the extent that we have seen tonight, but heavy rain continues tomorrow. So where does that leave us with rainfall amounts? We think additional rainfall amounts, there's still looking like there's going to be a swath right along I-30 of 5 to maybe 10 inches of rain, less on either side of that. And again, it just depends on where the line stalls out tonight. But wherever that occurs, I think we could see some rare flash flood emergencies issued tonight. Just something that we don't see very often, and to a level of flooding that we haven't seen since we saw it really in Stone County back in the summer when they got about 7 or 8 inches in a very short period of time. We still have one active tornado warning in our viewing area, and it looks like it's a pretty healthy looking tornadic supercell regardless of which side of the boundary it's on. Still have very strong rotation that's headed up towards Mountain View Highway 5 on the southeast side of town. It's moving due northeast, so if you're in that region, I don't know that this is all just rotation. It's kind of hard to pick out. I think the actual rotation bear would be back towards the southwest side of the storm. But nevertheless, we want you to take your tornado safety precautions. I do think, and Austin pointed this out, Mountain View is very, very close to where you go from the very warm and humid air to the much cooler air that is north of that. And so stay in your tornado safe spot for a few more minutes. That includes you guys up in 56, up towards, I would say, anybody that got the alert on their phone, anybody up towards the north. Even if you are in a little bit of a cooler area right now, if you step outside and it's a little bit cooler, Sylamore, 56, just go ahead and take your tornado precautions. It's not going to be for very long. Highway 5 is about to have the circulation cross over it. We did get that video from Fairfield Bay. It looked like we had maybe a low-hanging wall cloud, but we didn't see anything really spinning violently. We didn't see anything on the ground. That's great news. This, though, eventually I think is going to get out of the warm, humid air that it's possibly latched onto. I don't expect this storm to remain a tornadic threat for a whole lot longer, though that cannot be said at right now. I think we still have to watch this thing. Still strong rotation there. Northeast of Turkey Creek and just to the south of Mountain View. We put the rotation, you can really follow it well there with it being put in motion, coming up into Stone County, perhaps strengthening a little bit as it's gotten to the southeast side of Mountain View. Strong tornadoes in this area of the state, when you get them, they do present a debris signature, and we do not see a debris signature on radar with this at the current time, and hopefully that will continue. As far as all of our other warnings go, got a few pockets that we're really watching. The two big supercells in southwest Arkansas are the main show, but that line of storms going through Pope County, very formidable. I think it's got very strong winds, and you can already tell some of these storms are starting to slow their forward advance up here in northern Arkansas, and this is why the flood threat's going to be so important. It's these two supercells down in southwest Arkansas that look really to be the most concerning as they move into an area that's just warm, humid, and kind of prepped for storms to be severe. Looks like severe thunderstorm warnings in effect for southern Montgomery County and northern Pike County. Looks like at least, even though there's no tornado threat with this, we are seeing some very large hailfall. I would estimate quarter-size hail in that storm and at least 60-mile-per-hour winds coming out with that. The National Weather Service in Little Rock may opt to keep severe thunderstorm warnings with those storms, and they will be making a decision on that. They are the ones that issue the warnings. They will be making a decision on that here coming up. So we'll have some new warnings coming up, and we'll see what they do with the warnings that are up in North Arkansas. Austin, the storm that's moving through Stone County right now is just very, very close to the boundary. I'm looking at a surface plot, and I don't have a temperature reading right there, but it's in the 50s off towards the northwest, while Batesville, just towards the southeast, is sitting at 69. I think Batesville's right on that boundary.
Yeah, that's right. I've been watching that rotation there just to the east of Mountain View, sliding quickly off towards the north and northeast. You can look here on Storm Scan where that rotation is there, just to the east of areas of Mountain View. We've been tracking the storm for quite a while, just moving up towards those locations. A little bit of, looks like they got rid of the tornado warning there. So I guess they believe that, unless they're going to reissue, I don't know if y'all have seen that, but they might believe that it's north of the boundary there, so the tornado threat might be diminished in that area. But also tracking some more storms in southwest Arkansas. If we can take their full screen of Storm Scan, watching those storms near areas of Glenwood, over towards areas Daisy, watching that storm kind of down there, producing maybe some gusty winds and maybe some large hail. Been watching on velocity there, looking at the winds in the storm. Very, very broad. Again, we are looking quite a ways from the Fort Smith radar there, but watching these areas around 70, around Glenwood. These people know this all too well if you've lived anywhere near Montgomery County, Garland County. It seems like these storms really like to travel up Highway 70 there. So areas from Glenwood, Bonnerdale, the Piercy Mall area, up to Piercy itself. These areas need to watch for this storm, because we've been hinting at it that it could be moving into a more favorable atmosphere for tornadoes as we go here in the next hour or so. But another look at that storm, you could see likely some large hail there to the southwest of Norman. We'll see what the National Weather Service is also looking at for this storm there in southern Montgomery County. Looking even further towards the south and west near Nashville, Murfreesboro. Still looking pretty far away from the radar, even further than the storm near Glenwood and Highway 70. So it's hard to tell, but these two storms are pretty strong, it looks like, just based on radar reflectivity and really keeping a close eye on that Glenwood storm. And you can see they did issue a new severe thunderstorm warning for areas around Mount Ida, all the way up towards Highway 270 there, just to the west of Hot Springs. From where I'm at, Sunshine, Arkansas, those locations now under that severe thunderstorm warning. Closer look again around Highway 70 there, near Hopper, Glenwood, those locations. We'll continue to watch velocity scans as well. New scans come in every couple of minutes or so, and still very broad rotation, if any, there, just near the Glenwood area. I still think they're going to warn this for 60-mile-per-hour winds and 1-inch hail, so quarter-inch size hail. If you are in the path of this storm, just stay away from windows. Try to get in the interior most part of your home, away from the windows if it has any strong winds and that large hail that could hit off those windows as well. So Highway 70, areas of southeast Glenwood or Montgomery County, southwest Garland County, we'll have to watch for that storm. We're also keeping still some tabs on that storm towards Stone County, moving into Izard County right now. They just continue to go with the severe thunderstorm warning with that. Like I mentioned a second ago, hopefully this is north of that boundary. It was right there, that warm front, just around the Mountain View area, around Batesville. I saw they were in the 70s, while areas just to the north were in the 60s and 50s. So that boundary is just right there. If it's north of it, then it just poses that large hail threat. And that storm wouldn't be much of a concern anymore for any tornadic activity. Still tracking that storm in Pope County as well. We'll look on velocity. Maybe a little bit of, this is from the Little Rock radar. Could be some rotation there just to the northeast of Dover there. So we'll continue to monitor that. We'll look at the Fort Smith radar to see if we can get a better indication of that. Yeah, we'll give it back to you, Barry, see what you're seeing with that storm up there.
Yeah, there is a little bit of a
notch along that storm. Yeah, a bit of a notch along that storm there, but for right now, still severe thunderstorm warned. And we're not going to stop watching these. We're going to, since there are no in our viewing area for now, we're going to send it to a break. We're going to come right back. We're going to continue with our coverage, and we'll have some of the news that's going on. Plus, we're going to continue to watch these storms. We are not abandoning our coverage of the storms. There are just no obvious signs of rotation anywhere. As soon as that happens, we break right in. But for right now, we're going to send it to a break and come back with just a portion of our 6 p.m. news.
From the station that's on your side, this is Channel 7 News at 6.
Well, we do wish you a very good evening. Our team of meteorologists been on the air for about the past hour or so covering severe weather around Arkansas. The good news is so far no tornadoes that we've seen that have touched down.
That's right. We do have a new tornado-warned storm, though. It is down near Nashville. Barry Brandt joins us now with more.
Yeah, far southwest Arkansas, and we're just going to have to continue to watch those storms because there's still a window of time here that we could have enough instability that we could have a tornado, and those have produced a tornado back when they were in Oklahoma and Texas, or at least they had very strong rotation. Let's take a look at what we've got going on. Tornado watch in effect until 9 p.m. and we have severe thunderstorm warnings way up to the north in Pope County, back coming now into Montgomery and Garland County, and there is one tornado warned storm in Howard and approaching Pike County, so northwestern Hempstead County there. We'll go to our radar, and it has been lit up with storms today, some of them rotating for sure. We've got one now that is north of Russellville, and you can see it's out to the east of Dover. It's kind of a bowed out area right there. And for now, I don't see much in the way of rotation along it, but on the leading edge of it, we're going to watch for little notches. Then we're looking up into North Arkansas. This is another area that I think has just a lot of wind along with it. It had some rotation out to the east of Mountain View. We'll still watch it as it moves up into Izard County. There's Melbourne right there, but it's very, very weak right now. So it is a severe thunderstorm warned storm, and it's getting a little bit farther north of the boundary, which means that it may not have quite the potential to produce a tornado that it once did. And then we look into southwest Arkansas. And Glenwood, you've got a storm coming up on you right now. And there it is there. There's Mazarn. There's Norman. This is a big area of wind. We've got to look at the velocity product, though, with it to see if it looks like it's rotating. And for right now, it's a very broad area, but I think it's just wind bowing out as it moves toward the Little Rock radar site there. So don't discount the fact that these could be big wind producers, too. And then we have the tornado warned storm that's down near Nashville, and that'll be moving up toward the Murfreesboro area. And for right now, the Shreveport office of the National Weather Service has chosen to put Mineral Springs and Nashville in a tornado warning storm. These are the ones that we're going to watch for a little while longer, probably most closely. Eventually, all these are going to form into a large area, and it will be a big rain potential as we head into the evening hours and into the overnight hours for tonight. We're going to stay with coverage of this because this tornado warning is very close to our area. We have some warnings. We apologize that we are going to cover up at least some of Wheel of Fortune for tonight, and we apologize for that, but we think that we need to be watching this very, very carefully. And so we'll send it to break right now, and then we're coming back, and we will join our coverage of severe weather. Oh, actually, no break here. We're just going to continue with it right now as we watch this tornado warned storm coming right up into the area. Again, we apologize. Wheel of Fortune fans, I know there are a lot of you out there on a night like this. We just feel like until we're fairly certain that there's no harm coming to our viewers, that we're gonna stick around for a little while with this. Still very warm and humid across the state. In Little Rock and in Pine Bluff, there's just a bunch of warm, humid air. But we're watching the storms up in North Arkansas nearer the warm front, and then the front kind of sags down into southwest Arkansas, and that's where it's gotten the spark to produce some rotating thunderstorms there. There's another storm that's coming up out of Texas, and you can see it there to the west of Texarkana, and that's a long way from getting into where anybody views us, but it's indicative of the atmosphere still being or having the potential to rotate. James, we're going to be looking at these storms, though, all the way from Glenwood and Norman, just out to the west of Murfreesboro, and I don't see any obvious sign of rotation within that tornado warned storm there. A lot of wind, though, east of Dierks.
Yeah, I think the wind draft's pretty high with these couple of storms. We have storm track here. There's a storm track here that is... I think you guys can hear me there, yeah. I think we have a storm track here that's looking off towards... that's going to be towards the Hot Springs area. All right, we're having all kinds of audio trouble with this mic, guys. You're going to have to take over for a second. I'll change some batteries here.
You've got it.
All right, so this storm that's headed towards Hot Springs, it's severe thunderstorm warned. 6:59 p.m. Is when it's expected in Hot Springs, and then it's going to track up towards the metro area. I think regardless of tornado potential, that supercell, it is producing large hail, and we are going to have to watch for damaging winds as well. The storm further towards the south is the one that has the tornado warning near Nashville. Both very mature storms that are moving northeast at about 60 miles per hour, 50 miles per hour, I'm sorry. And the one near Nashville, I think it's got the tornado warning just because of the environment that it sits in. You've got an inflow notch there. And it would be, if they continue the warning, it's going to be heading up towards Delight and Murfreesboro and Pike City. That's going to be up into Pike County. The storm that's moving towards Garland County, and I know right now we haven't had much happen, tornadic weather. Guys, it's all out by itself. And I believe it's in an environment where it will be able to possibly rotate here as it approaches the Little Rock metro area, the west side of the metro area, or the I-30 corridor, one or the other. So that is kind of the prime, our prime directive that we're going to watch here over the next little bit. We're looking at the rotation on multiple sources, and right now I don't think it's rotating just a ton, but it certainly is producing very high winds. In fact, coming up on Glenwood, the radar is measuring almost 70-mile-per-hour winds well up above the surface. So there's a good chance that we are seeing at least high winds in that location. Again, some of those high winds are also stretched off towards the north, towards Mount Ida. This is about to come up towards the southern end of Lake Ouachita, and then maybe even passing very close to Lake DeGray there off towards the south. So there is the a new severe thunderstorm warning that they've just drawn up here, and that's going to be for Pike County. So I don't think they're going to continue the tornado warning coming out of Howard County, and I think that's a good sign. But the two storms that are off towards the southwest of the metro area, I mean, it's still very warm, humid outside. We still have enough ingredients in place for these storms to be a big problem, especially this lead storm that's going to be coming up here into Garland County here very shortly. So we're going to keep a close eye on that. Austin, are you seeing anything from any of our sources around the state?
No, nothing as of yet. I know we mentioned it a little bit ago that the storm chasers that were out towards Greenbrier, Conway, those areas, they're all repositioning right now, probably towards these more southwestern storms that are moving into central areas of Arkansas. Still keeping an eye, though, on our friends in North Arkansas, even though some of those locations might be above the warm front there, so the tornado threat's not as great and significant as it would be south of that front. But here's what we're seeing here on Storm Scan for locations across north central Arkansas. Still seeing that one storm moving towards areas just around Marshall, moving out of areas of Pope County into Van Buren County, likely producing some stronger winds here, looking at velocity, leading edge, maybe some strong winds moving into western areas of Van Buren County. That Melbourne storm in Izard County continues to slide off towards the north, probably producing some smaller hail, quarter-sized. Gusty winds would be the main concern. That should be well north of that warm front now, so we're really turn our attention towards those storms in southwest Arkansas, towards Montgomery County, Garland County, those locations, Hot Spring County as well. We'll look at the latest velocity scan there, and it still looks like more of a damaging wind threat right now along areas of Highway 70. This is right through or just near the Glenwood area, moving up there Highway 70. If you know that area, Bonnerdale is just down the street. Then further than that, the Piercy Mall. Then you get to Piercy itself, closer towards the Lake Hamilton School District. There in southwestern Garland County. So we'll watch the storm as it slides off towards the north and east. Now they are warning it as well for the possibility of a ping pong ball sized hail. That would be more up in that magenta purple color area in southeastern areas of Montgomery County. That would move towards more, if it continues on its trajectory towards the north and east, that would move towards areas of Crystal Springs and along 270 there, and eventually towards Lake Ouachita, unless this starts moving off towards the right. So there's that one storm, and then we're also still tracking the storm down there in Murfreesboro. But right now, those are the two storms that we have with the most concern there. Barry, I know you're looking at the hail detector there. I don't know what you're seeing with that, but still warned for ping pong ball sized hail.
Yeah, I think up to perhaps severe hail with that storm, and it's at the north part of the storm. The windiest part is down to the south of that, and that's where you would look for rotation as well. But it has, over the last little bit, you can see how it's moved up and kind of gained in some strength, as indicated by its propensity to produce some hail. It's up north of Highway 70. Radar rise, yeah, it's a supercell kind of out by itself. This is an arm hanging down, but velocity-wise, it's more just wind, kind of a broad area of wind as it moves up, and Austin was calling out all of those places out in advance of it, which would include places like Piercy and on up to the Bonnerdale, coming up on there as it moves from Glenwood off to the northeast. So we've got that storm. We also have, and I'm going to just briefly look at this severe thunderstorm warned storm. As I do that, I will mention that tonight, Wheel of Fortune is going to air. We will air that after Nightline tonight, so you can set that to record a little bit later on. But again, we apologize. We just think that all of these storms have that potential to pretty quickly produce a tornado. And so safety, our primary concern for you. We're going to go ahead and preempt Wheel of Fortune unless all of these completely die out very quickly, and I don't think that's going to happen. So after Nightline tonight, Wheel of Fortune. And again, our apologies. We do not want to break into programming and do that. But on a night like this, let's try to make it through and keep everybody safe in the process of it. This storm is north of Hector, and there is some wind coming away from, but very little wind going back along this broad area of wind. But you watch for little couplets that could produce a spin-up tornado in a small area. And for right now, we're just going to watch that storm that's coming in to Van Buren County, and there's Clinton right there. So this is a storm that's going to be moving off to the northeast along the Highway 65 corridor there. Supercell with that appendage hanging down, and it looks like another appendage hanging down from it on the backside there. Velocity-wise, though, you just look where the brighter colors are, and that would be along Highway coming out of Clinton there. That's Highway 16? Yeah, that's Highway 16, right. It's coming from Dabney, and it'll be crossing over, and that's just kind of the leading edge of the wind. No tornado warning on that storm, but that's just some of the things that we look at when we're looking at these storms. It is severe thunderstorm warned, and the storm that is moving up toward Melbourne is still warned as well. I just think this is a big batch of wind from Melbourne on off to the northeast, and there's Sage, small community out to the east of there. It's a bowed out area. Winds rushing away. There's a lot of wind energy with that right there. Not enough, though, to produce a tornado warning with that storm. But we're going to continue to watch those storms. And I think that's getting to the point where it's up above the warm front and you're getting into colder air on the north side of that. All around the state we go. And there's more heavy rainfall to the west of Russellville. But that's what you're going to start to see. These storms aren't moving on down this way. They're starting to move up, and they're starting to tilt over just a little bit. And I think those will all start to merge together. And those storms will train over areas over and over and over again. So we're going to continue to watch the storms in southwest Arkansas, and especially the one east of Glenwood. Austin?
Yeah, we're keeping up with Scott Hollinger's feed here. Not exactly sure where he is located, but we are looking at some kind of storm that he's moving into. He should be somewhere here, I'd say somewhere in central or at least west Arkansas. So we'll take a quick look at his screen here. He's traveling somewhere in some smaller town. Maybe we can get a little sign here, or maybe even you know where the location is at. You can see people out there just kind of watching to see those storms move through. So we'll monitor his stream as well as some other storm chasers in and out of the region that are also chasing additional storms. We'll keep an eye on power outages as well, a good indicator if there's damaging winds, lightning, anything that could pull out power outages. So far, just under 7,000 customers out in the state of Arkansas, kind of sporadic with the most of them down in Sevier and southwest Arkansas there. Looking at Polk County, Pike County, not seeing really or Montgomery County as well. Not any power outages right now, which is some good news, but we'll continue to monitor them. There's that severe storm that we've been watching here the last 20, 25 minutes moving into southeastern Montgomery County, just based on reflectivity there and velocity, looking at velocity, mainly a wind threat moving up Highway 70. That should be near the Bonnerdale area right now. Large hail, possibly quarter size, maybe slightly larger than that. Off towards the north and east or northwest of the storm. Could see some of those large hail reports there. So that will slide off towards the north and east quickly. Towards areas of Piercy in between 270 there, Crystal Springs, down Sunshine, those locations could see this storm here the next 15 to 20 minutes. And still watching that other storm near Murfreesboro. Not really seeing too much rotation with that. But we'll also have to keep an eye on it because the National Weather Service is still doing so as that slides off towards the north and east. Barry?
Okay. Well, because we do not have any tornado warnings and looking at these storms now, we've obviously warned you about these. I think we are going to take a brief break and kind of reset We are constantly watching all of these storms, I will tell you, moving into Searcy and Van Buren County, moving into Garland County, western part of Hot Spring County, and up into Pike County. But for now, there are no tornado warnings on this, and the one that has moved up into Pike County, that's a severe thunderstorm warning. We're going to take a break, and we actually are going to return to Wheel of Fortune. Now, let me tell you, we could break in at any moment, but we'll get to that. Stay tuned right here all through the evening. And until that tornado threat goes away, we're going to be here absolutely watching it. It turns to a flooding threat after that. And if there are any signs of rotation anywhere in the state, we'll be back on. But stay right here on Channel 7, and we'll send you to the wheel now.